Hey there, everyone. My name is Kevin, and I'm going to be starting my first topic on bioinformatics, specializing it for beginners like yourself. And hopefully, you'll find it fun and a breeze to just kind of go through. So, first, I have this website which I first started out with back in the day, which is Rosalind. And it's probably outdated, but at this point, it has a nice collection of problems. And I'm just going to check them out real quick for you. So, when I go to the list view, you can tell that there are a number of problems varying in difficulty. And you can see by the attempts and by also the attempts correct. We're going to start with the first one, which is counting DNA nucleotides. If you come from a biology background, it's going to be quite obvious that you know that there's only 4 letters in DNA: A, T, C, and G. But if you don't, now you know. In this problem, they give you a length or a sequence, and then they want you to give 4 outputs in this specific order: A, C, G, and T. So we're going to do exactly that, except we're going to do it in Jupyter Notebook. The reason why I say Jupyter Notebook, or at least I recommend it, it's easy for beginners because it just sets you up right there. You don't have to rerun command lines, and you can have multiple cells, test out code, and just keep your work saved in a nice format for you to test and try out. Now, to install this, you can go to a different tutorial. I'm not going to go over that. I'm just going to keep it here right in our purpose, which is getting that DNA nucleotide counter. Okay, so first let's start off. I'm just going to go from the beginning, assuming that you just want to briefly brush on things or you have no idea what we're talking about. So first and foremost, we have to tell Python, the Python environment or Jupyter Notebook, right, that we need a variable. And a variable can have any name. In this case, we can say our variable to be some type of string. String meaning anything in quotes. So let's say we have AATT double C double G. And we're just going to do this so we know that the counts are 2, 2, 2, right? And once you have this variable, you need to run it, initialize that cell, and you can see if I ran this 11 times prior to making this video. Once we run it, now environment knows what sequence is equal to. I'm going to go straight and jump across a couple levels and go straight into the for loop because that's what you're here for, and that's probably assuming whatever reason why you're watching this video. I think the for loop is quite difficult to understand at first, so don't be over alarmed that you don't get it, but I'll try to break it down into a very easy way to just understand it. So I'm just going to try to run it first, and then we'll talk about it. Now, what you see here is I ran through every character, and after each character, I press entered. Basically, what it shows here. And that should tell you something. That means that whatever I did only ran with each character, starting from beginning to end. So the for loop starts with the first character and ends with the last character. And it grabs one character within this string. If I were to add a space, rerun both cells, it's still going to treat that space as one character. So X is our character, whatever we want to do with it. And if I wanted to do something extra, which is print a double character, I specify X twice. Now, X can be any variable or any temporary variable, such as OK, such as I don't know, and we can specify I don't know twice, and you'll get the same output. It's just a temporary variable. Now, you can kind of treat it as a local variable, meaning that it only exists within this function. But if you can tell, if I print I don't know, I'm going to get A, because that's the last time we had I don't know equal something. Basically, this is doing the variable's job for you. So if I could write it out right above, and I inserted the cell by pressing in this spot, pressing A, inserting a cell below by pressing B. I'm basically saying I don't know equals first character in sequence, and when it runs a second time, I don't know equals second character in sequence. And it runs till the very end. So we could say anything. Now, if I change this second part to something arbitrary, like I don't know, right? So for I don't know and I don't know, it's going to only run one time because I don't know currently just equals A. But if the variable doesn't exist, it won't be able to run. Now, once we have that down, we can run a for loop and do all these kind of crazy things because now it's super easy. If every time I can get at least one character, I can do something like a count. So let's get started. So I want to rewrite this to make it a little better, right? And we're going to start from the top. So in this segment, we want to say, or we want to initialize our counts to make it easy. So my idea is to say A, T, C, G equals 0. And the rule with naming or at least calling these variables is not to at least use this type of variable, which is it'll highlight green in Jupyter Notebook, but basically this would be a function. You don't want to rename a function as a variable, especially a built-in function. So in this case, I'm going to write a conditional, another thing you can learn. So conditional is basically if and else. So I say if nuke equals A, I want you to say A equals 1 or A plus 1. Okay? Let me get rid of that nonsense. And we'll take a pause here. We won't step any further. So I'm saying that if the variable nuke, when it runs through the for loop for the first time, if it equals A, and I'm using double quotations because if I'm using double equal signs because if I use 1, it's assigning something. If I'm using 2, it's evaluating something. If it's evaluates true to something in single quote A, then I want you to add 1 to the previous count. It doesn't know the previous count. Well, at least if I just add 1 to it, it might equal 1. So I have to say A equals the previous count plus 1. Now there's a more elegant way of saying this, or a shorter way, is A equal 1. I'll say that for another line, but those are the two ways. Now at the end, I want to make sure that I print outside the for loop, so I entered to make it the same vertical height or vertical or horizontal placement, right? And I'm going to print A. And it gives me 4. And just for consistency, I'm going to print T, C, G. Now you get the kind of the same output. I'm just going to delete this for now. It seems kind of annoying. Now we're here. We have 4 A's here. Now I'm going to erase this and I'm going to run it. Oh, wait. That's weird. So when I erased it here, it didn't fix it here. This is because I didn't rerun my code. So make sure you rerun your code. And that's going to reassign the variable to the new string. And when I rerun it here, boom. Nice. So we're going to continue and using the same steps. Boom, 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 boom. Now there's something special about if. When it's another if, you're going to call it elif. Hopefully there's a better way to call this. Or else if in other languages. And we're going to all assign it to T, C, G. And since we learned the elegant way of doing it, let's do this. Equals 1. Right? And then I'm just going to copy and paste it here. There's a couple easier ways to do this, but I just want to make sure you understand. T, C, G. Okay? Once I do all that, I print, and now it's updated. Just to check my work, I'm going to add maybe like a couple of A's here. Boom. And there's 12 A's. That makes it easy for me to count nucleotides or A, T, C, a G in this sequence. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you would like to learn more, subscribe and check out the next stuff. Take care.